let's reset where we are now in this race for president. There's the board right there. Joe Biden has 253 electoral votes. He's won 22 states. Donald Trump, 214 electoral votes, 23 states. You see those states in the gray that are still in play right now. Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina.
Nope. There are a number of stories in the Bible that happen right after the resurrection. There's one that has always stood out to me in particular. I think it's hard to overstate just how chaotic the world was for the disciples. In the period of one weekend, their entire world had become flipped upside down. Their leader, who they'd been following for 3 years, all of a sudden was gone. He was dead. They'd become hunted people overnight. And then some people had said that they had seen him. Even some of the disciples had seen him. It was a complete whirlwind of chaos, uncertainty, disappointment, confusion, brokenness, everything. After the disciples have witnessed all of this, they're sitting together. I imagine them sitting without really much to say. And Peter says, "I'm going fishing." And everybody else looks up and says, "We'll come with you." They go out to the lake. They do what they know how to do when it feels like they don't know anything else. They did something with their hands, something with their bodies, something that grounded them back to reality. They went out to clear their heads in the middle of a very difficult time. I suppose the story appeals to me because I like to fish. I learned how to fish from my grandpa Stookie. One of the places that I learned how to fish was at a public park out in the country, which was about 1.5 miles from my grandparents' house when I was growing up. This place is on the short list of special places in the world to me. My grandpa Stookie was the first of my grandparents to pass away. When he died, things were confusing. He went into the hospital with stroke-like symptoms on Sunday afternoon after church. He started to get better in the evening, and we thought he was out of the woods. Monday morning, I went to the hospital, and I got to pray with him. After leaving the hospital, I didn't even get out of town before I got a phone call to come back, because he'd stopped breathing. I got there just after they had stopped trying to bring him back. It was sudden. In less than 24 hours, we went from nothing being wrong to the whole world being flipped upside down. About a day or two after the family had gathered at the house, and after talking about all the different details and everything that was going on, I just needed a break. I needed to clear my head. So I took Grandpa's truck and fishing poles out to that lake where I'd learned how to fish. And that day, just like the disciples didn't catch anything all night, well, I didn't catch anything either. Although, just like the disciples, I don't think the point was to catch anything. The point was simply to go fishing. I don't know about you, but I'm tired right now. I'm worn out, confused, overwhelmed. It seems like we're living in a constant state of chaos and uncertainty. I started writing and recording this sermon Friday afternoon and finished up late on Saturday night. In that short window, we've gained a certain amount of certainty about the results of the election. But there's also part of me that feels a bit like what I think the disciples might have been feeling after Easter weekend. I'm not really sure how to make sense of everything that's happened in the last week, and I'm not even particularly sure that it's actually over or not. Even if the election really is one step closer to being over, it really only feels like there are a mountain of unanswered questions, and that the really hard work is just beginning. This is a moment of chaos, of unknown, of grief, of brokenness. And I wish I knew what to say today. But to be really honest, I don't have a clue what to say. Interestingly, I'm not alone either. This week I've asked a whole bunch of pastoral friends what they were going to say this Sunday, and most of them have no idea either. And I think that's because maybe there may not be anything to say right now. At least not anything that's going to make everyone feel magically great all of a sudden. I mean, I do wish that I could say that everything was going to be okay. I wish that I could say that we're going to come together as a country and find ways to reconcile. I wish I could say that we'll be able to heal from all of the horrible ways that we've treated each other. I mean, I hope for all of these things and a whole lot more. And I also think the Bible ultimately points us to a long-term hope in these kinds of things as well. But I also know that the Bible doesn't shy away or skip over what needs to happen in between now and then. The Bible has a very interesting tradition when it comes to suffering and difficult and uncertain times in life. The Bible doesn't exactly shy away from the hard parts. There are long sections of the Bible that give voice to the entire range of human emotion, including everything from joy and celebration to anger and fear and confusion. All of the kinds of things that different people in our congregation may be experiencing today. The Psalms are shockingly full of people giving thanks to God for God bringing justice and hope and righteousness in this world, and also expressing grief and anger, disappointment, and anxiety. The Bible gives words for our times of rejoicing, but also does not force us to go through the difficult times faster than we should. To be sure, the Bible brings us back around to putting our hope and our trust in God no matter what happens. But it's also important to simply name where we are. It's also important in this moment to simply allow us to be without trying to give words to it or try to fix it. To rest, to catch our breath. I don't know what to say. But I do think there is some wisdom in what the disciples did. At a moment of overwhelming chaos and unknown, they went fishing. They connected again with the physical world, with reality. They did something with their hands that was both familiar and grounding to them. They unplugged from the world and went out on a boat. I do think there are reasons for hope in the midst of chaos. At the very least, it is true that God is always at work in one way or another. I also find hope in the way that they meet Jesus in this story on the shore. As the disciples try to get their bearings again, Jesus appears to them not as a ghost, not with theatrics, not with flashes of lightning. Jesus meets them in a very physical and embodied way. He makes them breakfast. In the simple, mundane thing that is basic to human existence, that is where they meet Jesus. In spite of the fact that I've been talking for quite a while now, I'm still not really sure what to say today. But I think maybe I know what we can do. Take a rest. Connect back to reality. Hug a loved one. Go on a walk. Put your hands in some dirt. Make something. Eat breakfast. Listen to the wind in the trees and the songs of the birds. Do what helps you to do this the best. As for me, I'm going fishing. Come along with me for a while.